the building to the other end. Where are the people? Where are the machinists? Where are the heat treaters? Where are the welders? And I came back with an empty feeling. I said that this I can't believe is going to work out. So I went looking for another job. Fortunately, I made the cut. I found the job. It was an entirely different field. But I was accepted on the strength of my metallurgical background. That I also had received a master's degree in metallurgy. An engineering company in New York that built power plants was looking for a metallurgist because they had the prospects of getting a big nuclear power plant to work on. And they wanted the benefit of somebody. So anyhow, they accepted me. I took the job, and one thing led to another, and we worked on all kinds of things like the big antenna at Arecibo in Puerto Rico.
They're fighting to keep that. You know, the government wants to close it down.
Yeah.
And there's a huge movement to save the Arecibo antenna.
Right. We were building missile sites around the periphery of the country. Without going into a lot of details. And finally, this project came through. And it turned out it was to build an 800 megawatt steam generating power producing plant on the back of a plutonium producing reactor at Hanford, Washington, the last one that they built. That is where the plutonium was made for the atomic bombs that were dropped on Japan. And it was a remote site in the far reaches of the western part of Washington. So that was quite an experience. There was so much energy in one of those plutonium reactors that we could actually generate 800 megawatts of power. Now, they didn't get to build a nuclear power plant that big in this country, or for that matter, anywhere, for many, many, many years later. What they were building at the same time in our country were pilot plants. A little plant at Indian Point, a test plant.
Here in New York?
Yeah, a test plant all over the country where major utilities were building in Chicago and places like that. But they were small units just to get used to different concepts. Which concept were they using? Boiling water, pressurized water, hot air, whatever. That was considered possible. So we simply added a conventional electric generating plant. Took the hot water from the nuclear reactor, created steam and steam generators, and generated electricity like you would if you were burning coal or oil or the likes of that. The electric generator doesn't care where the steam comes from that drives it. It just worries about getting the steam at the right pressure.
So this was the first time that was done?
Associated with a nuclear power plant, yeah. And it was one of the biggest power plants in the country. Not the biggest, but one. It was 800 megawatts. That was the beginning of it all. And it has a very interesting story, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on details. So we ended up then building, on the strength of that experience, building nuclear power plants in the country, in our country, and around the world.
So you traveled a lot.
Oh, as a result, I did, yes.
And you consider them all safe?
Without question. Put things in perspective. Later, after we had many years of this kind of background behind us, we had formed an affiliate in England, and they were searching the continent for prospective users and buyers of a nuclear power plant. And we ended up one time in Helsinki, Finland. So I
did too.
A little cold out there.
I wanted St. Petersburg.
Ended up in Helsinki.
Right. It was only a stone's throw.
What's your excuse?
It was only a stone's throw. So there we were, and I remember so much that experience because it's so unique. Here we were talking to them about our experience, how we could help them. I had already built a small unit at what they call Lovisa, L-O-V-I-S-A, and now they wanted to build a bigger scale plant. So they were looking at different technologies, and so we talked to them about it. Now, the unique thing, here we are talking to them in a room, and this guy would be getting up and leaving the room and coming back, and then another guy would get up, and they'd ask us questions, and so we weren't revealing secrets, but we were revealing essences of our technology know-how, okay? So, to make a long story short, by the time the meeting was over, it was clear, I could sense, I'd been through this so many times with other clients and potential clients, that I could sense this is not going to get us anywhere. We're not going to go out of here with a contract to design a plant for them. And sure enough, as it turned out later on, after we had left, they gave the job to the Russians.
No, I don't think they had
They
a
were the
choice.
ones
Oh, they were going in the next room.
They were the ones in the next room. But I left them with these words. I'll never forget it. I said, because having built a nuclear power plant in our country on the back of a plutonium reactor, and haven't had the opportunity to see what they look like on the inside, and not often because we didn't have the need to know specifically how they made plutonium and the likes of that, but we did have to find out how we connect our piping and all that kind of stuff. And
to get the steam.
And all of that, so we had the privilege of going in there. And that was an eerie feeling. And the thing that at that time, and I'm talking about in the 1950s, late 1950s, the eerie feeling that I had, they did not and do not contain an accident in a plutonium, in a graphite reactor. It's so enormous that you can't visualize them building a concrete dome around it to contain it. So what they do then is the next best thing is they put hatches in the ceiling of the building with the event there is an accident with a loss of energy or an escape of a huge amount of energy.
Was that Chernobyl?
Of course. The hatches fly open and the building is saved, but all the contents
Radiation goes.
will.
I saw
Flying
it
into the
coming.
atmosphere with a
I
giant
saw
cloud.
it coming.
Now, fortunately, and fortuitously, call it what you will call it good technology, good quality control, that's never happened to my knowledge in our country. Okay? So we've never had to experience that problem. But when the Chernobyl plant did undergo that accident, I said to myself, God, my worst fears were realized because there was no way of containing the results of the accident. I don't want to go into details and make like we're going to be talking technical detail. Let's not do it. Let's talk about impacts. So unlike, for example, because eventually you're going to ask me, well, didn't we have that at 3 Mile Island? No, we did not have that at 3 Mile Island. We didn't have that by any same stretch of the imagination, principally because we were able to contain. Well, what about the emissions that came out of the stacks that eventually, well, they were contained as well. So then what does 3 Mile Island say to us that a Chernobyl doesn't? Well, number one, thank God that we had the concrete containment and the likes of that. Thank God we were able to prevent the accident from growing to a point where it actually left the reactor vessel. What you saw of the potential of the melting of the fuel elements was contained within the